Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers. I thank everybody that's involved with this process because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher. It is about us, the authors.
Hi, everybody. It's so good to be back with you tonight. I'm Lynda Daniele, and tonight I have my son, Anthony.
Hello.
And we're going to be kind of going down memory lane a little bit with some of the things that we did with Anthony's dad, and the kids across the street called him Grandpa Nick. And these are my two little books, Grandpa Nick's Bump, and the bump was a tumor that was really very, very large. And it's about the four little children that live across the street from us who came over to ask, when they realized that they didn't have a grandfather, they came over to ask Nick if he would be their grandfather. And he said, yes, of course I would. And unfortunately, about 4 months later, he passed away. And so it's that story, not your typical children's book, and because there's one sad page, but the rest of the book is very, very happy. And the second little book I have is called Grandpa Nick the Conductor, and because my son and my husband are both trolley operators at a local trolley museum in my area, and so it's that story, and it's about finding a cat and some kittens in the trolley barn. So Grandpa Nick the Conductor and Grandpa Nick's Bump. And before we get started, I just would like to thank Reader's Magnet for the platform of, having the authors be able to speak. This is just really, really important for authors to be able to get together and also to get their work out there as well. And this has been a wonderful week. I'm so happy to have people here with us today. Also, if you have any chat, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to type in the chat. And one thing we did last night that was kind of fun was we asked people where they were from when they typed in. And we had people from Mexico and New York, California, Kentucky, Virginia. It was really, really very, very nice to find out where people were from. So if you could do that, and also, what would you like to read? What are the things that you like to do? And are you a budding author? Would you like to have be able to write as well? So those are the kind of things that we would be talking about. And let's see. I will be here again Monday, not on the weekend, but next Monday from 7 to 7:30. I will be here the same time, the same station, as they used to say on the old television shows. So, Anthony, we can talk about some of the memories that we had with your dad. And one of the things, we have our 31 Model A Ford Coupe. And we went all over the place, right?
Oh, yeah.
We went all over the place with it. And this is on top of Mount Washington. That's the tallest mountain in the East
Yeah,
Coast,
the east,
right?
yeah, the east northeast. It's the tallest mountain. I forget what the height is, but yeah, it's pretty far up. But yeah, it's the first part of the lower 48 that gets sunlight in the morning, and yeah, it's pretty. They also have a hill climb race going up, at like a rally race going up at once a year as well.
With the old
But,
cars.
Well, some of the old cars, but yeah, it's mostly for the newer stuff, the high performance. The new Subaru rally team has a really big presence on there, and
Right.
it's there's some crazy videos on YouTube watching that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
making it up there in 4 minutes. I think I did it in like an hour to get up to the top, and then.
So that is the top of Mount Washington,
Yep.
and it's only like 10 days out of the year you can get a view like that.
Yeah, it's not very often. A lot of times it's very cold, very windy.
That's a spectacular picture actually, because we have the old car, and again it's 90 something years old now, and it's actually registered as a regular car. It's not registered as an antique. So one of the projects that I'm working on is called Grandpa Nick, The Adventures of Grandpa Nick and the Model A. And that's the name of this car, is the Ford Model A coupe. And so with that, we have lots of memories with this car. We went on all sorts of trips. And I made up a character actually. And we were talking about artwork the last 2 nights. This is the artwork for my curmudgeon friend, Fred. I don't know why I named him Fred, but I named him Fred. And he will be in the garage meeting my husband, who bought the Model A car when he was
15.
15. He was only 15, and I think it was $250. At that time, which was a lot of money for a college, high school kid to be able to do. And here is the little garage that I drew. And this will be part of my 3rd book. So it's Grandpa Nick's Bump, Grandpa Nick the Conductor, and the Adventures of Grandpa Nick and the Model A. And so Fred is he's an old curmudgeon, smokes a lot, hunched over with a cane. And he has kind of a grungy garage. And which is what a lot of the guys do, right?
Oh yeah.
We belong to a couple of car clubs, and we've been doing car runs for a very, very, very long time. Hanson says that's a beautiful portrait drawing. Oh, well, it's my little stick figures. What I do is I scan it and I send it to Reader's Magnet's real artists. I'm not. They will make a really nice picture out of that. So these pictures, the actual pictures, won't be in the newer book. It will be their version of what I'm trying to draw, And so here's a little one with Hazel. I was going to call her Nellie because Model A Fords are usually called Nellie, but there's another book out there called Nellie, so I can't do that. So her name is Hazel. And if you can see, she talks. She's got, a mouth and eyes. And this would be, let's see, I'm going backwards. This would be my husband, and this would be my mother-in-law. And she thought that this was way too expensive, $250, was it $150? 150. $150 to buy a car. She thought that was a lot of money. She thought it was a piece of junk. But we do not think that. So, and in the book, her voice is about 5 years old, and she does not understand people at all. Not at all. And so it should be a funny story. So what's some things, Anthony, that you remember, some trips that you remember that we had a really good time and different things happened?
Oh, just, pretty much everywhere we went with that car was a good time. But we went to Pennsylvania a couple times. We took it to New York a couple times.
Yes.
Maine, New Hampshire on a pretty regular basis.
Yes.
And those growing up, I was always in the rumble seat in the back. And it was a fun car.
And one of the things about our car that is a little bit different is that it has a roll down window. Most of the Model A coupes don't have a roll down window, but my husband wanted to be able to talk to people
Yep.
back and forth, and especially with this one when he was little in the rumble seat.
Yep.
One of the things that happened is we have a George. What is your favorite thing about Nick? Anthony, what do you
think? I don't know. Yeah, oh, he does.
He was really
incredibly
smart.
intelligent.
Very, very, very smart.
And quite often he would let you know that too. But the
that's very true. That's very true.
But he quite often was the smartest person in the room. But it was.
This is what he looked like.
Yeah.
So with a big smile.
Yep.
He was known for that big smile.
Yep. Yeah, he was an actual, he was a mechanical engineer and all that fun stuff, but meningioma. So hello, Margaret. Don't mind you briefly about meningioma. So yeah, that was the if I can remember it, I think it was meningioma, or was it something else? Was it?
It was meningioma. Yeah, he had the bump. If you had been following us before, and I think I recognized that name too. And thank you for putting the chat in. He had a huge tumor. It was really, really big. And after he passed away, we found out that it was meningioma, but it was benign. But it was growing so fast that it was awful.
Yeah.
It was just
it was putting pressure on the brain and everything like that. And that's one of the things that he found was incredibly frustrating, because at some points, like, he couldn't do like basic like division and multiplication and things, really basic math in his head. No, that was okay. Yeah, he's really he's really hurting if he can't do all that stuff. But but it was actually putting pressure on the brain,
right?
And that was
And that's why we called it the bump.
Yep.
We never called it a tumor because it was kind of scary to call it that. So we called it Grandpa Nick's bump.
Yep.
Camilla says children's books in general can be expensive during production, but I think it's worth it when you see kids enjoy reading them. Yes. I love seeing people read my two little books. I absolutely love it. It's really rewarding to see people. And even in our car club, the people that have gotten the books, it's just so nice to be able to remember Nick. And I really wrote it after Nick passed away. I was just miserable, and so I joined a writing class at the YMCA in my local area, and it was wonderful. It was only a few people in the class, and I was able to put my thoughts down on paper, and that really, really helped. It really, truly helped. So, and it did help me to feel better as we went along. So again, in your chat, if you can put where you're from, that would be really awesome. Okay. And if you have any other questions, that would be really good. Flora says, I admire how you portrayed the characters. It makes it significantly meaningful and inspiring. Thank you so much, Flora. Some of this story, the Model A story, I have a couple of made up characters, and of course the car is talking. She is her voice again is about 5 years old, and this should be a funny book. The other two had some a little teeny bit of sadness here. Certainly the first book did, but this should be a funny book where she just doesn't understand people, and she just gets silly, and she tries to tell people off, and it's just kind of really, really funny. So what's another trip that we had that we can remember?
So cruising back roading it up to Maine and kind of cruising the Route 1 as much as we possibly could.
Yes.
All the way up Maine. And
Route 1 goes along the coast, right? It goes along the coast of Maine. And if anybody gets a chance to go to Maine, it's just absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
It really truly is.
Did that section, and one of the other times we went up to Maine a lot. Maine, New Hampshire, and whatnot. We did a lot of vacationing up there, and there was a lot of fun. Some of the stuff was going up Route 16 up in New Hampshire, going across
Rangeley,
towards Rangeley, Maine at nighttime with a Model A.
That was funny. That was funny because in on Route 16 in Rangeley, Maine, before you get there, they're known for moose. There's moose all over the place. And at nighttime, they're dark. The car lights in a Model A are not very bright at all, right?
No.
And so it's really hard. And so this one is in the rumble seat. Did you get back in the cab?
I don't remember.
Okay,
I remember there was a lot of, we could see I can't remember if the eyes reflect in a moose or
I
not.
think so. I
But
think
we
so.
could see a lot of eyes, and that's all we could see. It was kind of cool, but it's kind of freaky and kind of cool at the same time. But
that was a fun trip.
It was a really fun trip.
Yeah.
But
We went up to the Stanley Museum. The Stanley steamer. I don't know if people are familiar with that, but that's a 1905.
So yeah, that was on the 1800s to they closed. It wound up being the American steam car, and I want to say that the Stanley Company finally closed in the 1920s. But yeah, it was they've got a really neat little museum up in Kingsfield, Maine, and
that was one of our trips that was really, really fun.
Yeah, we went up there twice.
Yes,
we went up there a couple times. But
yes, and we went to Cape Cod.
Yep.
Which is also another place. Put it on your bucket list if you get a chance to go to Cape Cod.
Yep.
So we had many, many memories of using the Model A, and also going just Sunday going to get donuts or going to church. My dog is here, and
she might be camera shy. I don't know.
I don't know if you can see her or not, but this is my little bio picture. And that was the week actually that I adopted her. And so she had a little brown face then, but now she has a little white face because she's 12. She's 12 years old now, and she's so good. She's a little border terrier, and she's a lot of company for me. We just love our Molly. So, and again, that's what she looked like when she was much younger. So,
Gary, how do you I have no idea how to pronounce that. Dre,
maybe.
I don't know. But
do you have plans writing longer novels, or do you prefer to stick to children's books for now? I think after the Model A story is done, I'm kind of venturing out into poetry a little bit, so a little change. I do want to get the Model A story out. Hopefully by this time next year. That's kind of my goal. And because there's still a lot of work to do on it. I do have a draft that I've turned in, but it's just a draft. But I think, I might take a little break and go into a poetry realm for a while. And then, maybe go back and forth from that to children's. And I don't know about writing a longer novel. I don't know if I have enough stuff to be able to do a long novel. Stephanie says the illustrations in the book are beautiful. I'm so glad that you like them. When a child opens up a book, the first thing they see is the pictures. So, and then if somebody's reading the picture, reading the words, that's wonderful, but the pictures are first. Maddie says, can you talk about the process of drawing the illustrations? Sure. I write the story first. And then I try to think about what it might look like. And then I usually do a pencil drawing. And then I go over it with pen or colored pencils. Then I scan it, and then I turn it into Reader's Magnet's artists. And again, it's ideas for them so that they can get an idea of where I'm coming from. So this is another one. This is going on a picnic with the Model A. And again, I'm not an artist, but there's the, little checkered tablecloth. And you got to have the wine and the French bread, right? And so this would be, I don't know whether this would be, I forget I think that's my mother-in-law actually in there. And then Nick driving. And then she has her, I'm going backwards. She has her mouth and her eyes there. So she does all the talking. The other thing that I do in my books is I have the little Holy Spirit where the children have to find the Holy Spirit on the page. So I'm backwards. There's the little Holy Spirit in the tree. Each page has a picture of the Holy Spirit because we're never alone. And that's really important. Julie says, what are your tips for beginning writers who hope to be authors someday?
Do it.
Right. Do it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just start. Also,
Don't be afraid to fail.
right.
Yeah.
And
Don't. Yeah. Just. Yeah.
just start.
Yep.
We've been starting some new ventures this summer here
Yep.
as well. And it can be an adventure.
Yeah.
Every day's an adventure. But if you're writing, the kind of classic rule is write about what you know, and then I add write from your heart, because a reader is going to be able to tell in a couple of pages if it's written from the heart, and if there's a knowledge base behind those words. Very, very important to do that. And if you're doing something like historical, make sure your facts are right. You really have to do your homework, because there's always going to be somebody out there that's going to know more. So you really have to really do your homework.
But don't get the was it the paralysis of the analysis either. That's
Right.
yeah. That's
Right.
you how do you do something? Well, you start by one step at a time.
That's right. And that's all it is. That's all we have.
Yep.
Right. That's all we have. Here's another thing, and this was before Anthony was born. Our house had gotten robbed. We were at church with the Model A, and we came home, and the house was a mess, and we had gotten robbed. I don't know if you can see that or not. Oh, there you go. And I had a little bird in one of my rooms, and the bird got out, and it died because the window was open. And it was a really cold day. It was just before Thanksgiving, and we had the Model A, and they had been watching us. The people that did this had been watching us go back and forth to church every Sunday in the car. So they knew our routine, and they knew we weren't going to be there. So that's what this little page is. So the house is a mess, and you've got broken dishes and stuff around, and so that will be one of the little drawings in the Adventures of Grandpa Nick and the Model A. That was a scary time, but one of the things that was really wonderful is that Thanksgiving dinner, my husband sat around with my family, and he said the prayer, and in his prayer, he thanked for the food and the house and everything, and then he said, "Please, Lord, bless the people who would want to harm us." And my father he really took that to heart. He thought, Nick's a really good man to be able to do that. Hanson, is that an original sketch? Yes. Yeah. So here's another one. Do you remember when we found the homeless man in Hartford?
That happened more than a few times. I don't know which one.
I know.
I don't know.
We had gone to a gas station, and there was a bunch of teenage kids hanging around, and they were kind of looking for trouble. In the book, I say they were like sly foxes, but they went over, and they came over to the car, and I started saying, my husband built this car from scratch, and their attitude changed, and they actually shook Nick's hand, and I think they were going to cause some real problems, but they changed their mind when they realized that Nick had done all the work. And we always kept food in the car. I don't know if it was on purpose, but there was always food in the car in case we saw a homeless person.
Well, it was also in case we got hungry and
right, exactly. Yeah, but we had stuff in the car.
We always went with.
So here's part of our little story too. Is that I can't really see it, but it's a homeless person, and we just give him a soda, and there's Anthony in the rumble seat. And Hazel, the car, is listening to everything that's going on. So, and I have my little instructions there. And I try to get as detailed as I can on the instructions so that the artist will know what I'm really trying to do. And then I have the little Holy Spirit dove here too, that they can draw. And let's see. Oh, okay. And I don't know if you remembered this one or not, but there was the oh, thank you, Warren. Thank you for that. That's nice. One of the things that happened as we were traveling along with the Model A, and the visor kind of broke a little bit. There's like a visor for sunlight over the.
Yeah, it's more of an aesthetic, but it does, yeah.
It helps a little bit.
It helps a little bit.
And the visor had broken, so we ended up going to a motel. We didn't expect to have to stop there, but we went to a motel, and there was a party. Nick was worried about these were college kids now, worried about them hurting their car. And he's like, we got to stop someplace and we have to buy duct tape to fix the visor. And so from there, they had this big party. They messed up the whole parking lot, these kids. And the next day, what do we find? A roll of unused, still wrapped duct tape. So God provided even duct tape. So here is Hazel the car, surrounded with the duct tape around her, with the Holy Spirit right there. There you go. And like I say, Hazel is going to be funny. She's going to be a very silly girl car, like 5 years old. So the other one, do you remember the story about going to church with the cars? What happened there?
Oh yeah, we did empty parking lot, and my dad and another gentleman both backed into the same parking space.
Right. It was empty.
Yeah.
There wasn't a car around anywhere. Nick had pulled into one parking space, and then he's backing up. I don't know why. He's backing up, and the other one was trying to get in there too. And so that will be part of our next little story in Grandpa Nick, the adventures of Grandpa Nick and the Model A. Let's see if I can get that better. There you go. Now you can see it. And it can be any modern car, because I don't remember what the car actually was. And the Holy Spirit's got to be in there with maybe flapping its wings, a little scared. And Nellie there with her mouth open, she goes, "What are you doing? You hit me." So that should be kind of a funny little part. But that was a true story. Empty parking lot, 2 cars collided.
Yeah. The one that more sticks out for me is when we were going down the highway and the fan let go and went flying all over the place.
Yes. So
the Model A is the radiator fan on them is 3 pieces of sheet metal. It's all welded together and they rot from the inside out. And centrifugal force just pulls it apart. And so when they let go, they often let go with a bang. And this one hit the radiator support and went down. Sometimes you see pictures of them going through the hoods of the cars and all that stuff. And it's there's that was an interesting night. You know, just driving down we were going pretty quick. And bam, cling, 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 cling. Your parts fall off the car. But it's fixable. We got the car still got home though. So even without the generator and the fan running, the car still got us home.
Yeah, it's always fixable. Yep. Always fixable, especially when you have 2 engineers.
Yep.
That does that. You know, it's a challenge.
Yep.
Anything goes wrong, it's just a challenge. How about when we were going down with the my yellow car?
Oh,
we went to Salem, Massachusetts. You know, where the witch stuff and the witch trials and everything. We pulled into a parking lot. We're the only modern car. Everybody else has their Model A.
Yeah, from our club, but from our club, everybody brought their Model A's. We had the one.
We had the one modern car, newish car.
Yeah, it was,
and the bumper falls off. So we took a coat hanger and hooked that together. It was just crazy. The Model A was stronger that day. Margaret says, "How did you get the inspiration of involving illustrations in your book?" Well, because it's a children's book, you need to have something for them to look at, especially if they're not readers yet. You know, very, very important. And they need to be colorful. Primary colors are wonderful. They need to be bright and happy pictures. And little Molly, she's coming to visit. But so,
you want to say hi?
You want to come? Want to come up? No.
She wants to play.
But so, illustrations are very, very important. So I think what's happening now is that I can't believe how fast this has gone by.
Yeah, wow.
This is very, very fast. And just a few little housekeeping things before we wrap it up. And it would be, I will be here, same place, 7 to 7:30, Monday through Thursday next week, Eastern Standard Time. And then on Friday, it is from 6 to 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So next Friday, February 2nd, it will be just a little bit different. If you have any questions or whatever, feel free to contact me. You can certainly go to my website, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. So I look forward to seeing you on next Monday from 7 to 7:30. And feel free to, if you would like to order my books, go to readersmagnet.com. And they're very good. You'll be able to order the books directly from them. And my website, ldanielebooks.com as well. So I kind of prefer that you go to readersmagnet.com. That would be really good. And so I guess we're going to wrap it up. And we will see you Monday. And I hope you have a wonderful... The dog's
I think she wants to go for a walk.
Yeah.
Go for a walk?
Yeah. We will see you, okay, next Monday night. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.